What's up, guys? Edrone here, and today we're going to be swapping out the Wizard X220HV's stock RP-SMA connector for the VTX with a SMA connector for the VTX. Stay tuned. The stock Wizard X220HV comes with the RP-SMA connector for your antenna, for your FPV signal. This connects to your VTX. And my antenna got damaged in a crash. So I was going to go ahead and replace the antenna with another RP-SMA antenna. But they are actually really difficult to find. There doesn't seem to be a lot of them online, at least not a lot of the vendors in the States that are carrying them anymore. Everybody is carrying the SMA style connectors. So I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and just swap out this RP SMA connector with a SMA connector, since the antennas for the SMA seem to be a lot more plentiful. So you see here in the package, this connector does not have the pin, whereas this particular connector does have the pin. So that will be able to use our regular SMA antennas. In order to do this, we're going to have to take the top plate off of the Wizard, and we're going to have to take out the actual MMCX connector and take this out of the 3D printed mount to install our new connector. So let's go ahead and remove the top plate. Top plate screws on the Wizard are a 2mm. So go ahead and take you a 2mm Allen key wrench and remove all the screws. There is eight screws securing the top plate. On my particular build, I'm going to have to also cut these zip ties for the GoPro mount as well, because I actually wrapped it completely around the frame to secure it more. And make sure when you get one, I'll put a link down in the description for this exact connector. You need to have a 90-degree MMCX, and Race Day Quads has just what you need right on their website. It was very, very affordable, not really that much at all. And make sure you check out Race Day Quads. We have removed the 8 screws on the top plate. Now you go ahead and just pull the top plate straight up. Comes right off very easily. Also remove the 2 zip ties securing my GoPro mount that came with the Wizard. Another upgrade you might want to consider while you're doing this is go ahead and changing out your FPV battery straps. The ones that come with the stock Wizard, if you're going to run 6S, seem like they're a little bit short. Make sure you put some longer straps on here at this time if you want to go ahead and run 6S batteries. Stock Wizard straps seem to be a little short for 6S. They're fine for 4S. Have the top plate removed. We're going to have to go ahead and remove these 4 little nuts securing the VTX to the back stack here. That way we can lift this board up easily and remove the MMCX connector, which is right here. And then we can go ahead and push this connector out of the TPU mount. Got our 4 nuts removed off the VTX in the back stack. Now, if you just gently lift up on the VTX, very gently, it will actually come right off, just like so. And now we have removed the VTX off the stack. And if you need, you can also go ahead and unplug it to get a little bit more slack. This is a nice, easy upgrade that you can do to your Wizard. So that way you have access to more popular antennas, because it seems like the SMA style antennas are a lot more plentiful than the RP SMA. So the good thing is this is actually a MMCX connector on the VTX. See how it has a 90 on there? That's why I told you to get a 90. So very gently, this connector just pulls straight out, just like so. You don't have to give it much force at all, and it just pulls right out, nice and easy. So now we can set the VTX off to the side, just over here out of the way. Nothing's powered up, so that should be fine. Now, I suggest it's going to be easier to actually take this whole back section off. Just undo the 2 screws on the bottom, pull the whole section off, because the 3D printed antenna holder is very snug on these 2 standoffs, and you will fight it. And it's just easier just to flip the quadcopter upside down, and there's 2 screws right there. Take those 2 screws out, and this whole back piece that's holding on the antennas will come right off, and that way we can go ahead and push out this RP SMA. Remove the 2 bottom screws holding on this back piece, and as you can see, we slide it off, and now we have it completely separate from the Wizard frame. So now we can go ahead and push this back out. We can push this connector back through this TPU mount. Okay, so there's a little nut on top. You can take the pliers and kind of spin this bottom piece and loosen this nut on the top. Got the nut off. And they give you another nut in your new race day quads one, so don't worry if you damage the nut or lose the nut. And then just pull it right out. And boom, there we go. Got it removed. Throw that sucker in the trash. Save it, whatever you want to do. And now you're ready to install your new connector. The connector side by side. This is the stock Wizard RP SMA, and this is the new SMA. And as you can see, the threads are just about the same exact length. So this is going to fit perfectly in our new mount. Now in the Race Day Quads pack, they give you one of these screw-on nut pieces here, and they also give you a lock washer and another little washer clip. But I'm not going to be using either one of these clips. I'm only going to be using the nut piece. So all you need to do now at this point is plug in right here through the bottom. And that's got plenty of thread still. Even all you got to do now is take your little lock nut here. We need to make sure we tighten this all the way up, because we need to get as much thread sticking out as we can, so that when we screw on our antenna, we have enough thread. So this might be a nice little job for like some needle nose pliers. Just take your needle nose pliers and tighten up this ring. Just be extremely careful when you're tightening it, because the needle nose pliers, if you do it wrong, can strip these threads out on the actual connector. So what I like to do is come from the top, squeeze down on the ring, and twist. Or you can do it this way as well. Get on the bottom there and just give it a nice little turn and get it nice and snug and tight. And now you can see how much thread we actually have sticking out of the mount. And let's go ahead and try our antenna and see how much thread is actually going to be on the new antenna. Looks like it's going to be plenty. So basically we're going to just tighten this up. Tighten this up by hand. You just want to push down and turn. Okay. This is the TBS stubby, which is kind of like what they give you with the Wizard. But yeah, seems like it's on there nice and secure. It's not spinning. I got it nice and tight. So I think that's going to work good. So what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and reinstall this. We're going to plug this back into the VTX. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and power it up and just test it out and make sure that we have video signal. And then that's pretty much it. Now, it's going to be definitely a very tight fit back here. So I suggest leaving the VTX loose, so you can actually plug in the cable to your VTX. And then what you're going to have to do is down here at the bottom, you see where the cable is kind of pushing down against the frame. You need to get one of your screws started on one side, get the other screw started, and then tighten it down. You see I have it tightened down in the back, and you see where it just slightly bends right there on the bottom. Should be okay because it's right around where the heat shrink is. And now we're going to go ahead and connect this MMCX connector to the VTX and just kind of loop this excess wire in the back. That way it's not sticking up. It's just going to snap right into the connector on the VTX, and you'll feel and hear a nice clicking sound, knowing that you have a good connection. And as you kind of twist the wire, see how that 90 kind of just flows right to the board, so it's facing the right direction. It's not going to put any excess strain on the connector. Boom. Got a nice solid click there. So we know we got a good connection. Now we're just going to kind of push this down back in the back, kind of like it was from the factory. Kind of push that down, and then we can go ahead and tighten down our 4 nuts, and that should be good to go. And we'll go ahead and power it up and test it out. But see how it kind of loops around back here? There's really not any other way to do it to where the cable is not wrapped around. Tighten these guys up by hand. Normally I can get them tight enough with my fingers to where it's not moving. And there you go. So mod number 1 would be the battery straps, longer battery straps. And then mod number 2 is we change the stock RPSMA cable that goes to the VTX to the SMA cable from Race Day Quads. Link in the description for that cable. And it's a very nice and clean install. And it wasn't hard at all, really. It was really quite simple. The hardest part was just kind of getting this 3D printed mount back on here with the new connector without kinking the new wire. But there you go. So we'll go ahead, before we put the top plate on, we'll go ahead and power it up. And we'll check in our goggles just to make sure we got a good video feed. It's always good to double check before you put your top plate back on. Got my goggles powered up. Let's go ahead and plug in this 4S LiPo battery just to make sure that we have video. Antenna is on at this time. Make sure you always have your antenna on when you plug in power. And there you have it. Nice clean video. Looks good. We can go ahead and put the top plate back on now that we know our video is working correctly. All right, we got our top plate back on. Got the GoPro mount mounted. And actually, I thought of maybe instead of wasting all my zip ties every time I have to take the top plate off, I use this smaller Race Day Quad strap. And seems to be pretty secure. And the props just barely miss it. So as long as the Velcro holds out, should be okay. So make sure we keep an eye on that. But yeah, it feels pretty secure with this Race Day Quad strap. And it shouldn't slide off the front because of this camera mount here on the bottom. So I think that'll be a better mounting solution for this GoPro mount versus always having to cut off zip ties every time. But as you can see, nice and clean and easy. Very easy to do. Make sure you check out racedayquads.com. Here's the card here, racedayquads.com. Links in the description for the SMA connector that's going to plug right into your stock VTX of the Wizard. I was just going to go ahead and replace the VTX altogether and just go ahead and upgrade it. But I thought to myself, this VTX is working fine. I don't see any reason to change out parts until they start to fail. That would defeat the whole purpose of having a nice budget, pretty much ready to go freestyle quad, backup quad. So yeah, that's my plans with this Wizard, is to do some freestyle. This is my backup quadcopter and run on 6S every now and then. As parts start to fail on this, I'll start upgrading them with different components. And then, we'll have a more of a premium build. But for now, I'm going to fly it just like it is stock, and we're going to just upgrade as we go along. So there's my one and two, my first and second upgrade of the Wizard HV, the SMA connector. So now I can mount any of my SMA FPV antennas, and also these longer battery straps. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe. Any questions about the Wizard X220HV, put it down in the comments. Be glad to help you out. And yeah, if you have any suggestions about any other minor upgrades to do, put it down in the comments. But as for now, I'm going to fly this quad just like it is stock. and just replace parts as I go along. More Wizard X220HV videos to come on the channel. The weather here has been very crummy. We've got a lot of wind, cold, but I do have plans on taking this guy back out for a nice thrash session. And what I want to do is try some inverted yaw spins and see how the quadcopter behaves. But all in all, I've been very impressed with my particular Wizard X220HV, and I've let a buddy fly it, and he really enjoyed it as well. So yeah, so far so good for my experiences. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Till next time, edrone out.